Hello guys! Welcome to my course on HTML5. This course is for anybody who is starting to learn web development. This is for absolute beginners and I will be talking to you guys as if you have never written any line of code. If you guys are new to web development, this course is specially for you as I will cover all the basic concepts in detail. I will hold your hand and walk you through all the steps. I will show you a couple of slides to build the basic understanding and then we will dive into the actual coding. Before I start with the contents, let me clarify a couple of things. As I already said, this course is for absolute beginners, and if you have been coding websites for some time, you might get something of value, but it is highly unlikely, and as I said, this course is basically aimed at teaching the young developers who are just starting to build websites, and those who know nothing about web development. If you are a web developer, then I would recommend that you check out my other tutorials. Concepts of CSS will not be discussed in this course. I might be using some CSS, but that will be purely for clarification of HTML concepts. Let me also inform you that HTML is for contents and CSS is for styling. The website made with pure HTML is really ugly, as you will see. The beautiful layouts that we see in real websites are created using CSS. In the practical world of internet today, there is no site which has been built in pure HTML, at least to my knowledge. HTML has evolved over a period of time and there are many versions of HTML. In this course, we will concentrate on HTML version 5 only, which is the current standard of internet. Currently, HTML5 is in use for most of the internet and we will be talking about HTML5 only. I might give some passing reference of other versions where required for the sake of clarity only. You may be able to watch this course in an hour or so, but I must tell you that you cannot become a web developer in an hour or by watching a couple of videos. You have to spend time and put in your heart and soul into learning. You will be learning even once you have landed into a pretty decent job. Okay, so let's start with learning of HTML. So what is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and it is not a programming language by any definition. So learning HTML will not make you a programmer. The HTML is a markup language as it uses markups or tags to define the contents of a website. The programming languages, on the other hand, have some flow control and logic. By logic, I mean some program that decides an action on the basis of some conditions. The example of logic would be some code that takes actions on the basis of days of a week. For example, if the day is Monday, then set the alarm to 7 a.m. If the day is Sunday, then set the alarm to 11 a.m. The examples of programming languages are C++, Java, JavaScript, PHP, and many more. The programming languages are also used for connection with database, providing functionality of an online store, provision of dynamic contents, etc. HTML is just for the contents, and CSS defines the layout of the web page. Having said so much about the programming languages, you must know that HTML by far is the most important language for web developers. Because no matter how complex language is being run in the background or at the backend servers, HTML is after all the language of the browser, and whatever you see in the browser has HTML in it. Alright, let's see what we need for building the websites. There are only two pieces of software which we need for this purpose. The text editor in which we can write the code and the browser in which we can view the code. It does not matter what kind of computer you have. You can have PC or Mac or some other platform running Linux. I will be using Windows as my operating system in this course. But it doesn't really matter because whatever we learn in this course will be completely cross-platform. This means that the softwares which I will use in this course can be used on any platform. The website will also appear to be similar on different operating systems or hardware platforms. You can see a list of editors. Most of these are free to use and it generally comes to your personal preference in using these editors. You can choose whatever editor you want. The websites can even be built in the default text editor of Windows, that is Notepad, and default text editor of Mac OS X, that is TextEdit, or VI, etc. if you are using Linux. But I will not recommend using these. In this course, we will be using brackets. It would be best if you use brackets for this course, as I assume you are new to web development and it would make it easy for you to follow the lessons. However, it is really up to you, and if you are comfortable with any other editor, go ahead with that. Brackets is cross-platform and is available for Windows, Mac, and Linux. It's lightweight and totally free. In the next lesson, I will tell you where you can get it from, how you can install it, and how you can extend its functionality by using extensions. As far as the web browser is concerned, you can see the list here. You can use any of these browsers, but I would recommend using Google Chrome browser for web development, as it has got a variety of developer tools which will help us in debugging our websites. That's all for this lecture. See you in next lesson. Hi guys! In this lecture, we will set up the environment for web development. We will download and install the Google Chrome browser, brackets code editor, and its extensions. If you want to use your own text editor and the web browser for web development, then this lesson is optional for you, and you can skip to the next lesson. Okay, to install Google Chrome, open your default web browser, which in my case is Firefox. Go to google.com/Chrome. Click on this button which says Download Chrome. You will get this dialog box. Go through the terms of service. I usually uncheck this box because I don't want Google Chrome to send my usage data to its servers. You can uncheck it if you are a security conscious person like me, or you can keep it checked if you want to share anonymous data. It is totally up to you. I will uncheck this box and click on this button which says Accept and Install. Download the Google Chrome setup file by clicking Save File button. I am using Firefox. You may get different options if you are using some other browser. Once the file is downloaded, click on this file here to run the installer. The Windows will present this user account dialog box. Click Yes to allow the program to run. It will connect with the internet. Download the files, which might take a couple of minutes. Once the download is complete, it will install Google Chrome. Installation on Mac OS may be slightly different, but if you have been a Mac user for some time, I am sure you would manage to install this browser. Once Chrome is installed, it will open this window in front of you. Next, I will install brackets and its extensions. Let me just maximize this window. In the address bar, go to the website brackets.io. Once the website is open, you can see this download button. The current version is 1.14. It may be different depending upon the time frame in which you will be watching this course. These days, the websites are intelligent and they know your operating system. So if you are using Windows, this button will download brackets for Windows. If you are using Mac, then this button will download brackets for Mac, and similarly for Linux if you are using Linux. Click on this button and brackets installer will be downloaded. For some reason, it takes more time to download on my computer than many other files of the same size. Let me download it and I will join you as soon as the download is complete. Okay, now it's downloaded. Click on this file to run the installer. I will be using all the default values. Click on Next. Click on Install. Click Yes on this user account control. This will start the installation process. The installation process will take a couple of minutes. Once it's done, click Finish to complete the installation. The installation process on Mac may be a little bit different. In fact, I have already made a video on how to install brackets on Mac. It is on my YouTube channel and I will leave the link in the description below. Once brackets is installed, you may not see any shortcut or anything on the desktop. There are a couple of ways in which we can start brackets. First method is by using the Start menu. Simply click on the Start button. Here the programs are listed in alphabetical order. So go to alphabet B and you will see brackets. Click on it and it will open your brackets code editor. I will also tell you a couple of other methods to open brackets in due course of time. If you get this warning of Windows Firewall, allow brackets to communicate over public networks. Next, let me maximize this window. Okay, this is the main interface of brackets code editor. On our left side, we have this sidebar, which lists our directory structure and the files. On the right side, we have this main work area where we can open our files and make changes in them. This health report, which you will see only once, tells you that the brackets will also be collecting some information about its use. I do not want brackets to collect and share this information, so I will change the default settings. First, let me close this health report. Now, go to the Help menu. From the drop-down menu, select Health Report. Here in this dialog box, I will uncheck this box and then I will click Done. Now let's talk about these icons on the right side of brackets. This flash-like symbol is our real friend and we will be using it a lot. If I hover over it, you can see that it says Live Preview. This is one of the reasons that I use brackets. This live preview lets us see the changes in real time. That means whatever code we write in this window, the results are immediately available in the browser window. I will show you how this works in a couple of minutes. This symbol is the extension manager. The extensions are basically the add-ons which will enhance the functionality of brackets. We will be adding the extensions with the help of this extension manager. Next, I will change the theme of the brackets. The editor comes with a couple of pre-installed themes. In order to change the theme, I will go to the view in the menu bar and select Themes. You can see that the current theme is Brackets Lite, which is the default theme of brackets. From here, I will select the Brackets Dark theme. I like this theme because it looks kind of pretty and puts less strain on my eyes. It is purely a personal preference and you may like to keep the light theme. It doesn't really make any difference. You may like to change the font size and the font family. I will be increasing the font size to 14 pixels so that it is easy for you to see and understand. You may want to keep it as it is or change it if you like. Next, I will add a couple of extensions for brackets. As I already told you, the extensions will make our coding experience great. To add the extensions, open the extension manager by clicking on this icon. Alternatively, you can also open the extension manager by going to File in the menu and selecting the extension manager from here. You will see 4 tabs in extension manager. The rightmost is Default, and these are the add-ons which have been installed with the brackets code editor by default. You can enable or disable any of these add-ons. For now, we will keep these to their default values. The second tab from right side tells us about the extensions that we have installed. Currently, this tab is empty as we have not added any extensions. As we add the extensions, they will be listed here in this tab. The next tab is for themes. A variety of themes are available for brackets. You can choose any of the theme you want from here. I have already selected the dark theme and I am pretty content with it. If you want, you can add any other theme from here. The leftmost tab lists all the available extensions which can be installed in brackets. The list is quite long and we will be using this search bar for finding our extension. The first extension which I will install is the Emmet extension. Let me search for Emmet. The extension helps us to write HTML and CSS code very quickly and easily. You may not use this extension in this course to its maximum potential, but let me assure you that this extension will save you many hours of work every single day in your life as a web developer. To install this extension, I will click on this install button. It will also take a couple of minutes and once it is done, click close. The next extension is the Beautify extension. So, search for Beautify. And I will be installing this extension by Drew Hamlet. The extension formats our code in a tidy manner and we can see and review our code with much ease. Click Install to install this extension. If you guys are having any troubles in understanding the use of these extensions, just wait for some time as I will be explaining the functionality of these extensions again once I use them. Click Close. The next extension which we want to install will help us to save our work automatically. So I will search for autosave. I want to install this autosave every edit extension. So what this extension does is that it keeps on saving our files so we do not have to worry about saving our work. We do not have to press Command+S or Control+S again and again. If you want to know more about this extension, you can click here on this button which says More Info. This will take you to its own website or most likely to the GitHub page and you can get more details about this extension. I will click on Install button in order to install the extension. It will take a couple of minutes to install the extension. Once it is done, click Close. And again, click Close button to close the extension manager. Now I will enable this autosave extension, and to do so, go to the file in the menu bar and check this option which says Enable Autosave. This will enable autosave and by default our changes will be saved after every 400 milliseconds, which is smaller than half a second, and I think it is perfect for me. You can change the default timings if you want to, but for this course I will keep it as default. That's all for this lecture. See you in next lesson. Hi, welcome to this new section. Now our development environment is ready, and in this lecture we will make our first website. Let me close the brackets code editor. I will make a new folder on desktop and name it as HTML. As I already told you, there are many methods of opening brackets code editor. This one, which I am going to tell you right now, is my favorite. Right-click on this HTML folder and select this option which says Open as Brackets Project. This will open the folder and all the related files in the brackets editor. Currently, the folder is empty, which you can see here in the left pane. Let's make our first website. To make a new file, go to the left pane and right-click in this left pane. Select New File and give it a name. I will name it index.html. You can give any name to the HTML file, but make sure the extension is HTML. The extension can be HTML as well, but for this basic course, we will stick to HTML. We will also be making a number of files with different names. However, the index.html is the default file of every website, and you must have this file on your website. Let me write my first HTML website. This is pure text and we have not used any HTML markups. Our file is being saved automatically. If I make any changes, let me pause the video. You can see this white dot here with the name of the file. This dot denotes that the file has not been saved. As soon as the file is saved, the dot disappears. Okay, let me remove this extra text. Now I will be using the live preview functionality of brackets. You can see this flash-like symbol here, and when I hover over it, you can see this little tooltip which says Live Preview. Click on this to open the Live Preview. When you run the Live Preview for the first time, you will get this dialog box. Click OK and it will open the Google Chrome browser. Here you can see your first website. Let me erase the window so that you can see the code and the website side by side. On my left, I have the code window, and on my right, I have my browser window. As we have started the live preview, so any changes which I make here must be reflected in this window in real time. So if I write, "This is awesome," you can see that the website has been updated instantaneously. That's all for this lecture. See you in next lesson. Hi. In this lecture, we will look into the structure of HTML document, and we will also get into writing real HTML. Let me delete this. The HTML document consists of HTML elements, and to write HTML elements, we use HTML tags. The HTML tags are written inside the angled brackets. That is, an HTML element starts with the left angle bracket, then we write the element name, and then the right angle bracket. Then we write the contents of that element, and then end the element with the ending tag. This is the ending tag. This is known as the starting or the opening tag, and this tag with / is known as the ending or closing tag. The ending tag is similar to this starting tag but with a /. The contents are enclosed in the starting and ending tag. This was just an example. Let me delete this. So in order to write a paragraph, we will start with the left angle bracket, P, right angle bracket. You may have noticed that the brackets automatically puts the ending tag. In case you are using a simple text editor like Notepad or TextEdit, you will have to write the ending tags manually. So this is also one of the advantages of using special editors for HTML. Okay, the contents will go inside the starting and closing tags. This is paragraph. Majority of the HTML elements have both the starting and ending tags. However, there are certain elements for which we do not need the ending tag, like line break, which is BR, the horizontal ruler, which is HR, and image elements, etc. Technically, you can put a / here, which is a requirement if you are writing XML, etc. But for HTML5, it is not required. Shortly, we will be talking about those elements which need the closing tags and also about those which do not need them. We will also discuss why certain elements need the closing tags and why are there elements without the closing tags. For now, just remember that the HTML element may or may not have the closing tag. The HTML document is contained inside the HTML element. This is the starting tag and this is the ending tag, and everything goes inside it. First, we have a head element, and then we have the body element. The head element is contained in the head opening tag and the head closing tag. Similarly, the body element is contained in the body opening tag and the body closing tag. This is important to note that the head element is used to give important instructions to web browser, and whatever we write inside the head element is not displayed in the browser window. So let's discuss this head element and why we need it. First, we can give our web page some title and it goes inside the head element. Then we can provide important information which is also known as metadata, such as the keywords and the description about the contents of our web page, and it is used by search engines like Google to find our web page. The head element also contains the links to our style sheets and JavaScript files, etc. The body element is the place where all your markup will go. For example, headings, paragraphs, images, etc. Everything here will be displayed in the browser window. So a typical HTML document looks something like this. We have the HTML element, and inside this element we have the head element and the body element. There is another important element which is technically not an HTML element, but we need it. This is the first element of any web page, and it is written as left angle bracket, ! Doc type, usually written in all caps, HTML, and the right angle bracket. This is not an HTML element, but this is a declaration and it tells the browser that this is an HTML document. The doc type HTML is specifically for HTML5. So this document is HTML5 document. For previous versions of HTML and XHTML, the declaration is different and generally more complicated. This may look overwhelming to you, but honestly this is nothing and you will need only a couple of minutes to master this. That's all for this lecture. See you in next lesson. Hi, welcome to this lecture. Now you have got some understanding of HTML structure. So in this lesson, we will start writing what we have learned so far. I have my brackets code editor on the left side with an empty index.html file, and I have the live preview window of Google Chrome on the right side. So here is the quick challenge for you. Can you guess how we start our HTML document? What is the first thing which I should write? Hopefully, you would have guessed. The first thing is doc type declaration, and it tells that this is the HTML5 document. So we start by left angle bracket, exclamation mark, doc type. We note that generally this is written in all caps, HTML. Then the right angle bracket. So this will tell that this is an HTML5 document. Next we will write the HTML element. So start by writing the left angle bracket. You might have noticed that as soon as I start typing, my code editor starts giving me suggestions. HTML. You will also notice that as soon as I type the right angle bracket, the code editor will put the closing tag by itself. Here you go. Let me make some space. Then I will add the head element. Make some space. Add the body element. Make some space. Notice that I have made the HTML document, but you cannot see anything in the web page. Can you make a quick guess why there is nothing in the browser window? It's simple. I have already told you that anything inside the body element is displayed in the browser window, and here you can see that the body element is empty. So the next question arises, where can I see this code? In order to view the source code of any website, you can press Ctrl+U on Windows and Command+U on Mac. Alternatively, you can also right-click on the page and select the View Page Source. This will give you the complete source of web page. Here you can see the doc type, HTML element, the head, and the body elements. You should not get confused with these IDs. These are generated by brackets for live preview. So if I go to HTML folder on desktop and open the index.html file, you will see the blank web page. Now press Ctrl+U or Command+U and you will be able to see the page source. Here in this window, you can see the source of HTML document, which is exactly the same as this document here. This is because we are building a static website, so the code looks exactly the same. Once we are building websites using PHP or MeanStack or any other advanced technology where HTML is being generated dynamically, then the code here in the editor window might look different than what actually is being parsed in the web browser. Now we will learn about title. The title of the web page appears at this place. Currently, we have not given any title to this web page, so you can see the name of the file. In order to add title, go to the head section and write the title element. And inside the opening and closing tags, write HTML for absolute beginners. You can write whatever title you want to. The code looks messy, so I will use the Beautify extension to make it look clean. Select all the contents by pressing Ctrl+A on Windows and Command+A on Mac. Right-click and select Beautify. This will make the code clean and it looks better. Next, we will learn about the different heading elements. The first one is the H1 element. I am heading 1. The H1 heading is the biggest heading as you can see. The default styling of H1 makes the text bigger and bolder. It also adds some margins around the text. The H1 element has both the starting and ending tags. Okay, next I will write the H2 element. I am heading 2. Next I will write H3 element. I am heading 3. You might have noticed that the font size of headings is getting smaller. Next, I will duplicate this line of code and change to H4 in the starting tag. Heading 4 and change to H4 in the ending tag. Similarly for H5, I will duplicate this line of code and change to H5 in the starting tag. Heading 5 and change to H5 in the ending tag. There are a total of 6 headings. For the last heading, duplicate this line and change to H6. Heading 6. and change this to H6. Next, we will look at the P element. This element is used for writing paragraphs. So write P element, and inside the opening and closing tags write I am paragraph. Let me make the code clean by selecting all and then selecting beautify. These are the main HTML elements for writing text. H1 is generally used for page titles, etc. H2 is generally used for headings of main sections on the page. H3 is used for headings of paragraphs, etc. The P element is used for the paragraphs. The headings from H4 to H6 may or may not be used on a web page. There is another important element, div, which is mainly used for wrapping other contents. For example, you can put all the headings in this div and then apply some styling on the div. That's all for this lesson. See you in next lecture. Hi, welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we will learn about adding images to our website. So on my left, I have this brackets code editor with a simple HTML file with basic structure. And on my right, I have this Chrome window with live preview. Adding images to the web page is very easy. Let me tell you that the images may look very ugly if we do not add any styling to them. So we might get into some styling in this lecture. In order to add the image in the web page, we use the img element. This element does not have any closing tag because all the required information is provided in the opening tag. In order to tell which image to display, it uses the source attribute written as src. Then the path is provided here. If I open my HTML folder, you can see that I have this image with the name of image1. So in the brackets editor, as soon as I start typing the name of the image by writing I, you can see that the name of the image appears. Press enter to select this image and you can see the image in live preview. As I told you that the image may not appear nice unless we apply some styling to it. The method which I am going to show you just now is not recommended for real websites. Please remember that the images are styled by using CSS and this method is just for educational purposes. So add the attribute of width and give it the value of 100. This will change the width of image to 100 pixels. The height will be adjusted according to the aspect ratio of the image. You can set the value of height as well. In this case, the height will be 100 pixels and the width will be adjusted accordingly. However, if you try to set the values of height and width simultaneously, your image may look like this, and this is not good. So let me remove it. The source attribute can take other values as well. For example, we can show images from other websites. So go to unsplash.com and search for computer. Right-click on this image and copy link location. Go to brackets and paste this URL here. Now you can see that the same image is displayed here. Finally, as far as images is concerned, there is another very important attribute and that is known as alt. This is basically the alternate text. So I will add the text as women working on computer. This alternate text has three purposes. First is that in case the browser cannot find the image, this text is shown. So let me change the URL. You can see that the alt text is shown here. The second purpose is that it helps the visually impaired people to understand what this image is about. And finally, this is a best practice for search engine optimization, aka SEO, so that the search engines can find out what images you have placed on your website. I think that's all for images. See you in next lecture. Hi! In this lecture, we will learn about adding links to our website. So on my left, I have this brackets code editor with a simple HTML file with basic structure, and on my right, I have this Chrome window with live preview. Adding links to the web page is very easy, and for that, we use the anchor element. There are three kinds of links. First links are the links which go to some section of the same page. For example, this is my website, thecodinggirls.com, and when I scroll down, you can see there are a number of sections. So when I click here, it takes me to another section on the same page. The second category is for links, which take you to another page of same website. For example, if I click on this link, it takes me to another page of the same website. And thirdly, there are links which take you to other websites. Alright, let's get our hands dirty. So in order to add the link, let me add the anchor element by writing a element. The main attribute of this element is href attribute, and I will give it the value of youtube.com. Then we need to add the link text which will be shown to the users. In this case, I'll write go to YouTube. Okay, now I will click on this link. You see that the web page of the YouTube has opened. You would have noticed that the YouTube website has been opened in the same tab. In case you want to open it in a new tab, you need to give it another attribute, which has the name of target. And the value should be _blank. Now when I click this, you can see that it has opened a new tab. Let me make another file by going to left pane, right click and select new file. I will name it as about.html and write h1 element and add the value about us. I will make an anchor element with the href equal to index.html and the link text to be go to index.html. Similarly, go to index.html file and add another anchor element with href equal to about.html and write the link text as go to about us. Now, when I click on this link, it takes me to the About Us page. And when I click on this link, it takes me back to the index.html file. Please note that I have not added the target attribute with this anchor text because it is going to the same website. I can add the target blank here, but it will open multiple tabs and it will be a bad user experience. That's all for links. Thanks for watching. Hi, in this lecture we will learn about lists in HTML. There are mainly two types of lists, the ordered lists and the unordered lists. The ordered lists have some kind of numbering, like 1, 2, 3 or ABC, etc. On the other hand, the unordered lists are the lists with bullets and do not have numbering. So on my left, I have this brackets code editor with a simple HTML file with basic structure. And on my right, I have Chrome window with live preview. So first, we look at the ordered lists. In order to write the ordered lists, we use the OL element, which stands for ordered list. And each item of the list is enclosed in the list item element, which is denoted by LI. Let's make the list of operating systems. Mac OS X. Make a new LI element. Linux. Make a new LI element. Windows. You can see that a list has been created with numbering from 1 to 3. This is the default styling for the ordered lists. You can change the styling by giving it the attribute of type in the opening tag of OL. Give it the value of capital A. Now your list starts with capital A. Please note that attributes are given in the opening tags of elements and they generally come in a pair of name and value. In this case, the name of the attribute is type and the value is A. If I change the value to a small I, you can see that the numbering style of lists have changed to Roman letters. You can have 1, 2, 3 or capital alphabets or small alphabets, the small Roman letters, or the capital Roman letters. Let me change it back to normal numbering. Okay, what else? We can also change the order to descending by adding another attribute that is reversed. Now you can see that we have the list in the descending order. We can also set the starting number by using the attribute start and giving it a value, let's say 100. And now the list goes from 100 to 98, and if I remove the attribute of reversed, the list goes from 100 to 102. That's all for ordered lists. Let's have a look on the unordered lists. The unordered lists are written by the UL element, which obviously stands for unordered list, and the list items are written by LI elements, as we have already seen in the ordered list. So let's make a list of fruits. Apples. Duplicate this LI and change to oranges. Duplicate again and change to strawberries. We can change this bullet style by using the attribute of type. The default is disk, which you can see here. I can change it to circle, and you can see the small circles here. I can make it square, and you can see the small squares here. I can also remove the bullets by setting the type equal to none. The list without any bullets might seem strange to you at this point, but please remember this is very important in modern web development. The unordered lists with type none are most commonly used in making the navigations bar. That's all for this lecture. See you in next lesson. Hi! In this lecture, we will learn about adding tables to our website. Before I begin making tables, I must tell you that tables in pure HTML are very ugly and we need CSS to style them. However, in this lecture, we will only learn the basic structure of the tables and we will not be styling tables. Okay, if you are not familiar with tables, tables are just like the spreadsheets where we can have some data in tabular form. The table is enclosed in the table element and then we have rows which are denoted by the TR element. Each cell in the row is denoted by the TD element. The header row can have special styling if we use the TH element instead of the TD element. Okay, enough with slides. So on my left, I have this brackets code editor with a simple HTML file with basic structure, and on my right, I have this Chrome window with live preview. In order to make the table, we will use the table element. It will have the T-head element, which we will use for making the header row. Then the T-body element, which will be used for the regular rows. And finally the T-foot element for the footer of the table. We will also add the caption to the table. In this case, we will use the books of Harry Potter. Inside the T-head element, I will write the row by using the TR element. Now we will write the header data, and for that I will be using TH element. Book, another TH, author, and another TH, number of copies. Next, I will go inside the T-body element and add the row by writing TR element. Add a TD for data and write the text book 1. Add another TD and write author J.K. Rowling. Add another TD and write 1 million. These are just arbitrary values. Next, copy this row from here and duplicate it. Change to book 2 and 2 million. Again, copy this row from here and duplicate it. Change to book 3 and 5 million. Now go to the T-foot element and add a row. Add a TH element and write total. Add another TH and write 8 million. This does not come underneath this heading. We will adjust this in a minute. The table does not look like a table at all. Let me just add a bit of styling. So go to the opening tab of table and write border is equal to 1 pixel. Now you can see that it looks like a table. If you use more CSS, we can make it really awesome. But for now, that's all the styling which we will do. Now I need to fix the total number of copies sold. I can add a TD tag here. This will fix this. But I want to show you the span attribute. Let me remove this TD. The span attribute can be used to merge cells across multiple rows. So we will add span as an attribute to this TD. In this case, we want to merge these two cells, so we will give it a value of 2. Now you can see our table looks really nice. You can also use the span attribute to merge the cells across multiple rows. In this way, you can add the tables to your websites. The table may not look as pretty as you would have seen on many websites, but this is how you write the HTML and then you make it pretty by using CSS. That's all for this lecture. Thanks for watching. Hi! In this lecture, we will learn about adding forms to our website. So on my left, I have this brackets code editor with a simple HTML file and basic structure. And on my right, I have this Chrome window with live preview. Before I begin making forms, I must tell you that the forms as well as many other elements like tables etc. in pure HTML are very ugly and we need CSS to style them. However, in this lecture, we will only learn the basic building blocks of forms and we will not style it. Okay, in order to make forms, we use the form element. Forms can be used to submit some information to the backend servers. For that, we need to add two attributes. First one is method, which can have the value of get if we want to submit information through URL. The method can also be post. If we are submitting some sensitive information like login credentials, etc., next attribute is action. And with the help of action attribute, we define the actual file at server which will be handling our form. For example, we may submit the form to process.php. In this lecture, we will not submit the form to any server. So even if I remove these, it won't make any difference. But I will just leave these here for your reference. Next, we have the label element. The label is just pure text and cannot do much. I will write the text, enter your name, : Next, I will add the input element. You can see that the input element here in the browser window and you can write some gibberish here in this input. Please note that the input element is the self-closing element and there is no ending tag. There are many types of input. So I will add the attribute of type and you can see all the types of input here. I will select the text. Now this input will behave as a simple single line text box. I will also give it a name attribute and set the value to username. This name attribute is an important attribute and it is used by the server to get the values from the form. Please note that this label is for this input element, but when I click on this label, I cannot get the focus on this input element. In order to fix this, I will add the ID attribute to this input element and give it the value of name. I will also add an attribute to label known as for attribute. I will give it the same value as the value of ID of the input element, which in this case is name. Now when I click on this label, you can see that the input element gets the focus and I can start writing here. Okay, next we will learn about the email input element. Simply select these lines of code and duplicate them. Change the label to enter your email. Change the value of for to email. Change the type to email. Change the name to email. And change the ID to email as well. Now we have our input box for the email. You might be curious that why we can't simply use a simple text box for email as well. Just wait for a couple of minutes and I will answer this question when we talk about the submit button. Okay, now we have two input elements and both of them are on the same line. So in order to move this element to the next line, I will use the BR element. And we know that the BR element is the line break element, and it is also self-closing element. Next, I will add the password field to my form, and for this I will simply duplicate these lines of codes and change the label to enter your password. Change the value of 4 to password. Change the type to password. Change the name to password. And change the ID to password. If I type something in the password field, you will not be able to see the actual text, and instead, you would just see these asterisks. This is how the password fields are created on the websites. Okay, next I will add the text area element. The text area element is the multi-line text box. This is typically used for comments, etc. So first add label and set the far value text area and give it the label comments. Then add the text area element. You can see this handle here, and I can change the size of this text area from here. You can also set the initial size of this text area by setting columns by writing calls equal to, say, for example, 30. And the rows equal to 10. In this way, you will get a text area with 30 columns and 10 rows. You can also give it the ID and name if you need to. The last form element which we will look into is also very important, and that is the input element with type of submit. When I click on this button, this form will be submitted to the server. I can change the button text by adding the value attribute and setting the value to, say, login. Before I end this lesson, I will tell you something more about the email element. So let me enter the email, the coding girls, and press login. You can see that we get this message that this is not a valid email. So by using the email input, we are adding some basic validation to our forms. If I complete the email by adding .com@gmail.com, click on login button and our form is submitted without any error. There is another important attribute of the form elements, and that is the placeholder. So if I go to the first input element and add the placeholder here and give it the value your name, this will appear here. And as soon as I start typing in this input element, the text of the placeholder disappears. So this is a good idea to add the placeholder text for a better user experience. That's all for this lecture. Thanks for watching. Hi! In this course, you have learned all the basic building blocks of HTML, which will get you started for learning web development. I've also made a course on Udemy for the aspiring front-end developers. You can enroll in my course at Udemy. The course covers the many advanced topics, languages, and development of complete website. I will leave the link below in the subscription, and you will be able to get my course for less than $10 by using the coupon code 999. Occasionally, I also give away my course for free. So if you come back and watch the video again, you might get free coupons. Thanks for watching, and if you like this course, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you need any clarifications on the subject, you can leave the comments below and I will try to get back as soon as possible.